Welcome to CAC African Continental Champs taking place in South Africa, hosted by Cycling South Africa. Basically, we've got the top riders in cross-country, short course and cross-country Olympic taking part in the competition for the African Continental Champs title and the jersey. So very exciting. We got this announcement a couple of weeks ago, scrambled to get everything together, and thankfully to Wendell and Thaba Trails as well as Balwin, we were able to host the event right here at Thaba Trails, where we hosted our SA Champs a couple of months ago. The course is fantastic, it's riding exceptionally well, and I'm sure the riders from across Africa will enjoy it. So welcome everybody, have a great day of racing.
A day after the XCO races, it was time to decide the African champions of the short and explosive XCC discipline. Introduced 5 years ago as a Friday night feature on the World Cup weekends by the UCI, short track or XCC racing is a thrilling 20 to 25 minutes of no-hold-barred racing on an abbreviated cross-country track, usually between 1 and 1.5 kilometers in distance. For the purposes of the CAC MTB African Championships, powered by Balwin Sport and presented by Computer Mania, the women's race included both the under-23 and elite women. First, second and third in the XCO race, Candice Lill, Tyler Jacobs and Sarah Hill were joined by under-23 silver and bronze medalists Anneke van der Walt and Morocco's Raja Chakir, as well as South Africa's Lehani Oosthuizen and Jade Skinner, Mauritian Aurelie Holbachs, Kenya's Nancy Debe and two Zimbabweans, Stacey Hislop and Helen Mitchell. The pace was fierce from the start, with Jacobs blasting away from the field. She was second to Lill in the XCO race a day earlier. Sarah Hill, an infrequent cross-country racer, was third, followed by Holbachs of Mauritius and Zimbabwe's Hislop. The start loop is a longer lap, and Lill clocked 3 minutes and 4 seconds, a second ahead of Jacobs. A clatter of gears as they dropped down to climb the short, sharp ascent. Lehani Oosthuizen had clocked 3 minutes 22 seconds on the first lap. Debe 3:33 and Hislop 3:35. The art of racing in XCC is to manage your efforts smartly, not to go out too hard and run out of puff late in the race. Also to try and stay out of the wind long enough to conserve energy. They were racing 8 laps, and it was clear from the early laps that Lill and Jacobs were once again the star performers as they stuck limpet-like to each other, for lap after lap. There was no more than a second between the two for the first 6 laps, in fact. Hill was rotating between 13 and 15 seconds a lap slower. Holbachs had started slow but was gradually making up time on Hill. Having lost 15 seconds over the first 2 laps, she began matching Hill's times in the middle of the race. After a strong start, Oosthuizen was holding on to 5th place, while Kenya's Nancy Debe was recovering after a slow start. It was hugely encouraging to watch young Tyler Jacobs, a junior last year, hold her own against a seasoned, experienced World Cup racer like Candice Lill. Ever courageous and determined, Sarah Hill was giving her all in 3rd place. The bell for the 8th and final lap saw Lill and Jacobs locked together. It was going to come down to a thrilling sprint to decide the champion of Africa in the XCC discipline. The fearless 19-year-old was making the 31-year-old do the work on the front. Hill was one of only 2 riders still on the same lap as the leading pair. She was, though, over a minute and a half back. It was a game of cat and mouse, Lill having to do the work on the front while keeping an eye on her young rival behind her. There was nothing in it. Out of the final corner, and it was Lill who jumped on the pedals and poured on the power. A long sprint for the finish. And it was Candice Lill who managed to hold off the hard-charging Tyler Jacobs to take the win by the narrowest of margins to do the XCO-XCC double at the African Continental Championships.
Sure, that was so much fun. Short track is always such high adrenaline, high speeds. I really enjoyed being able to race with Tyler today. We had such a tight battle, and this is just what I really want to see. I want to see the younger generation of girls coming up and challenging me.
That was a very fun race, super exciting. I'm very chuffed that I managed to stay with Candice till the end. Shows that I am improving, so that's exciting. And I look forward to more races like that.
And it certainly bodes well for the future. Hill was third and Hallbox in fourth place. So to the podium presentation. Sarah Hill receiving her second bronze medal of the weekend from CAC representative Danilo Correa. Tyler Jacobs collects a second piece of silverware as well. Candice Lill, the gold medalist, had to catch a flight back to Europe, so was excused from the presentation ceremony. So to the men's race, and again, it was a combination of elites and under-23s. But the big difference here was the numbers. There were no fewer than 37 riders representing 10 nations on the start line. The men were to do 9 laps. In a cloud of dust, they exploded off the start line. The first lap is often chaotic as riders jostle for position. This was very similar to what riders would experience in a fully fledged World Cup XCC race in Europe. The one absentee was XCO winner a day earlier Philip Bass and Paiga Eurosteel, who was away riding the Old Mutual Gothenburg state race. Johan van Zyl, Luc Moyer and Johan de Villiers were fastest on the start loop. The men doing a slightly longer lap than the women. Thaba Trails has so many challenging options to choose from. The high-paced nature of the race means that every facet of a rider's bag of skills is put to the test. Line choice into corners, acceleration out of corners, early and late braking all play a critical factor. And de Villiers was still leading when they popped out of the trail. Van Zyl second, followed by Luc Moyer. The trio had a small advantage over their chasers as they ticked off the laps at between 2 minutes 13 and 2 minutes 22 seconds during the middle sector of the race. Making a strong charge into contention was Daniel van der Walt, followed by Daniel van der Walt of Computer Mania. Then it was Van Zyl who took the lead. Moyer on his wheel, de Villiers losing impetus in third. Van der Walt could sense a chance of a medal. Hugo Hahn of Namibia was on his wheel, followed by Herman Fourie. Now 4 in the hunt for 3 medals. Van Zyl, Moyer, de Villiers and Van der Walt. Nothing in it. Onto the cement they came on the second last lap, and Johan van Zyl, the Boerland Blitz, launched a ferocious attack, and the Computer Mania rider put distance into Moyer and Van der Walt in second and third. And his daring move paid rich dividends as he emerged from the single track with a handy lead. A blistering 8th lap of 2 minutes and 4 seconds, 9 seconds faster than any other lap in the race, had done the trick. And Van Zyl was able to raise his arms in triumph as he rolled over the finish line to take a fantastic win and add an XCC gold medal to his XEO silver he earned a day earlier. And with it, have the chance to test himself on the biggest stage of them all, the World Cup.
Finally we can do the short track in the World Cups. We have enough points now, hopefully. We'll see on this week. But yeah, it would be pretty cool to be part of that and try and get our positions up and finally can maybe start in the top 20 and see if we can ride in front.
Yeah, yesterday was a bit of a shocker for me, but I'm happy to walk away with a 7th yesterday. You know, a lot of points for all the World Cups coming up for me. And then obviously today, I wasn't feeling the greatest this morning. You know, I managed a P2, so really stoked with that actually, with the way I kind of felt the whole weekend. It wasn't my greatest weekend, but I'm super happy with the points. I'm going to Lenzerheide next weekend, probably going to be in the short track for the under-23, so I'm super happy about that. Overall, it was a proper track. It's on the European standard, so yeah, fun weekend. Looking forward to next weekend.
Second place was taken by Luc Moyer, who was 7th on the XEO a day earlier, and he was 12 seconds behind Van Zyl in the XCC. Daniel van der Walt, the bronze medalist, Luc Moyer, the silver medalist, and the champion's jersey and gold medal to Johan van Zyl, who'll be joining Moyer on the start line for their first under-23 XCC race at Lenzerheide in Switzerland. As the curtain came down on a highly successful 2023 CAC MTB African Championships powered by Balwin Sport in association with Computer Mania at Thaba Trails.